Hi, Narf from Narf Sounds here. Today I'll be talking about how to make the most out of the bundles that you've purchased from the Narf Sounds website and installed on your Yamaha Montage or your Yamaha MODX. So once you've loaded your sounds, you will find the libraries in the library section of your instrument, and you can access that in live set. And here we are, live set, and usually it defaults to a preset live set. And all you need to do is just go down until you find the library name. And in this case, we have the Narf FC 10 pack. And there are 10 sets in there. So the 10 pack has 10 live sets. So from page 1 goes up to page 10. And this is the newest one so far. And after page 10, there is an extras page and gives you 2 bonus sounds in there. So I'm Not in Love by 10cc and Wouldn't It Be Good by Nick Kershaw. So these are not advertised in any of my posts. So those are extras in there that you can use. And if you're familiar with the song, it will make sense on how these have been set up. Now I also have the Session Keys Performance, and this is a good go-to performance if you just want all your bread and butter instruments ready to go. So if you go to performance control, you can see that we have mute groups. Whenever we go to the different scenes, different instruments will be muted and unmuted. So scene 1 is your piano, and that's also layered with some strings and some pad. You can see strings are here and the pad is here. If you want electric piano, go to scene 2. So I do have a tutorial on how this was set up, and you just look up on YouTube scene setup in Narf Sounds, and you will find how I set up this performance. And yeah, again, great for those bread and butter sounds, and that has been part of all the bundles that come from the website. And it's the first time I've actually put it in a live set, but it's always been there, and you can access that in category search. Now I also have a Narf Orchestra in here. So the orchestra sound is set up so that some instruments will trigger based on the velocity of your playing. So if you play this gently, I have individual instruments like violins and flutes. And if I play it harder, and especially with the lower octaves, you can trigger the louder instruments. So that's the Narf Orchestra. And again, if you've had a bundle for all this time, it's been there. It's just been there in category search. But now again, it is in a live set. And I have my go-to brass performance, and I just simply called it Narf Brass Section. Again, velocity triggered. If you play softly, you get the swell brasses. Play at a medium velocity, you get the normal brass. And if you played hard, you get the brass falls. Right? So if you just want a generic brass that you can use for your gigs, the Narf Brass Section Performance would be the way to go. So when you perform, sometimes you want all of your sounds to be in alphabetical order. Now, my sounds came out in sets of 16, and they're in alphabetical order for those particular sets, but the entire package is not in alphabetical order in the live set section. So if you want to have it and perform with all those sounds in alphabetical order, you need to go to category search and treat category search as though it was your live set. So simply go to my library. In this case, it is the Narf FC 10 pack, or Narf Favorite Covers 10 pack there. So that becomes your bank right here. And you can arrange it according to name. So once that's according to name, you can see that everything is in alphabetical order. But it's a mix of multi-performances and single performances. So you just change the attribute right here into multi, and you'll have the song titles and the full performance in there. So the song dedicated sounds are all multis. You might find some that's part of a song dedicated sound, but there's not many of them. So if you want to see this in alphabetical order, this is the best way to do it. Treat category search as though it was your live set. And if you need to quickly browse through your sounds, I think this is the best way to go, especially if you perform in a band where songs get called out on the fly rather than having a fixed set list. So that's what I would recommend for that. So now we're back in live set, and let's go to page 10. And this is the set 10. This is the latest set. Aside from developing these sounds for the set, I've also improved some of the sounds that were from the past sets. And again, those improvements will only be found in the bundle version. One of the sounds that I improved for the set 10 bundle is Comfortably Numb. I've made it easier to trigger this sound, and I've lowered the velocity switch limit of that because MODX 6 and 7 owners can't trigger that sound with normal velocity, and they have to really pound on their keybed. And what I found out about the MODX 6 and MODX 7 is it can't reach a certain velocity even though the settings are available on board. So I've lowered that velocity limit. It's now easier to trigger that. Again, if you play it softly, nothing's gonna come out, but if you play it hard, that will trigger. So another sound that I improved is Boys of Summer from the Favorite Covers Set 2. And I've replaced the synth seagull on the top C. So that now suits the song better than my previous programming. And lastly, Levitating, I've added this sample. So the previous versions didn't have that sample, but now you can enjoy that with the Set 10 bundle. So you might notice that there are songs with a version 2. One of them is Superstition, another is Radio Gaga. That just means that there are 2 versions of that, and I tweaked or reprogrammed some of them and replaced the old version with a newer version. Now with the Radio Gaga, I replaced the version 1, and the reason behind that is that the arpeggio wasn't very accurate. But I've been getting some messages from people who wanted that old version better, and you can still find it. It's still in the category search. Just search for Radio Gaga, and you'll find the original version. But Radio Gaga 2.0, I think, is the better version. There's just a trick to actually playing the arpeggio. So what you need to do when you're in Radio Gaga 2 and you've got a 61 key, you have to play the bass notes at a lower register. And on a 61, you have to press the octave minus button. And as you're playing that bass note, you alternate between your pinky and your thumb. And play around with that to make it more accurate to the recording. Because the recording was actually a natural arpeggio and they didn't program the notes individually. So this, I think, is a better version when you're playing Radio Gaga. So the version 2, I think, is the way to go. Just be aware of the octave buttons if you've got a 61 key and play the bass notes on the lower register. So the Favorite Covers bundle comes with over 500 performances, and they're either single performances or multi-performances. So the multi-performances are mostly the song-specific sounds. But if you want to access some sounds and say, for instance, you just want a lead sound or a pad sound, you can always go to category search and choose My Library. So that's the Narf FC 10 pack. Go to single as the attribute, and you can get specific sounds. For instance, if you want just lead sounds, you can type in the word lead, and these are usually the main sounds of a particular song. So if you want to access the collection of leads within the library, just do this and you have these selections. And the nice thing about it is the sounds are in the context of the song. So you have an idea on what the sound is actually going to sound like because we have the title of the songs here. So, or say Nutbush lead, Maniac lead. So you can go and choose pad as well if you want to type in pad. And these are all of the pads that have been made as single part performances. And you can use this for your own performance, or if you want to reassemble or reconstruct any of the performances that are here, you have those parts. So what if you want a single part from a particular song? So here we've got Billie Jean, and I kind of like this part 4, which is a saw brass. And if I want to just isolate that part and create a single performance out of that, the way to go is find out where the part resides. So in this case, Billie Jean part 4. I'll go to category search and go to an init, right? Init, and I'll choose init normal. And init normal starts off with just one part. And how part 1 behaves is different from the rest of the parts of a performance. So what we want is just the 4th part of Billie Jean. So we touch part 1, we go to category search, and we type in Billie Jean. So Billie Jean is right there. But before we select Billie Jean, we have to assign which part we want to import. So for whenever you're doing it from part 1, you can actually choose the source part of the sound that you're importing into your own performance. So instead of part 1 right here, I can change this to part 4. And I can also import the other attributes of a performance, like the mixing or the arpeggios or the scene settings or the zones. But we won't be getting that. I just want part 4 of Billie Jean and enter. And now I have Billie Jean saw brass, which is, and now that has become a single part performance that I can use for any other performance that I may be wanting to do. So the last thing that I'll be talking about are the performance notes that come with the package. So when you look at the download, you'll see a containing folder and a PDF file. And this is from the previous set. It's the 9-pack bundle performance notes PDF. So a PDF is a portable document file. That means that you can put it into another device. So when I double click that, it opens up and here's my PDF 9-pack bundle. And you can see that it is full of color and photos. So ideally, you don't want to be printing this out on a piece of paper, as it is a waste of ink. And if you want to see the performance notes, you simply enlarge it on your device, whether it's your computer or your iPad or your phone. You can actually just see how the sounds are set up. So these performance notes explain how your sounds are set up on the keyboard. And the idea is, if you know the song, if you've learned the song properly, these will automatically make sense, because the sounds that I've created are based on the actual recordings. And if you'd like to find out where those sounds are located, you'll find it here in this document. And it'll immediately make sense once you learn the song first. Here it's all explained, and you can enlarge. And some of these even have links to the demos. If you see an underscore with a title, that means you can click that and it'll take you to the YouTube video demo of the sounds. So the later sets, I've been doing this better, where you can just click and find the demos. But of course, you could always go to the Narf Sounds YouTube channel and just type in the title of the song, and you're gonna find the demo there. And some of the bundled demos have chapters, so you can find out how the sounds are played by just watching the YouTube video. So for set 9 and set 10, I've made it this way, where you have a access to the video on the file, and you can just click this and it takes you to the YouTube demo. And it explains how the scenes are set up in this format. But I don't recommend that you print the document out, export it into your device, in a handheld device, and just enlarge that as needed. And of course, send me an email if you have trouble figuring things out. But I think the videos that I've made are pretty self-explanatory. If you're familiar with the songs that you're playing, then the sounds are set up in a very logical fashion. And if you're performing it on stage, it should be easy to access and play. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the sounds. We'll see you. Bye.